Hello and welcome to the Canadian Edge. Time for another knife review. Before we get started, just want to remind you to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment. Would love to hear from you. Alright, the knife today that we're looking at, it is a Kershaw, and this is the Kershaw Tremolo. It has a blade length of 3.125 inches. Open, it is 7.25 inches, and closed 4.125 inches. The steel on this is a 4CR14, so it's a budget steel, easy to sharpen, but not going to hold an edge for a super long time, but should do well on the corrosive side to keep rust away. And the weight of this is 2.8 ounces. The handle on it, it is a glass-filled nylon with stainless steel additions on there. I don't know if you call those bolsters. I think they're just additions to give it a different look, and I kind of like the look. The pocket clip on it, it is a stainless steel. Good news for you lefties, it is reversible, deep carry, tip up. So Kershaw often makes their knives so you can change the pocket clip out, and it is ambidextrous that way, except for the lock. You have to access it, but you lefties are probably used to that, so it's not a big deal for you. It is flipper opening, and it does have a bit of jimping on the flipper, and of course it has the Kershaw Speed Safe assisted opening on it. So if you like assisted opening, Kershaw is your brand to go to. Kershaw makes a lot of assisted opening knives, and you may have heard me say before, I'm not a huge fan of the assisted opening, but I don't mind some of their knives. The assist on it is pretty decent. And it is a liner lock on there. And there is jimping on the back of the blade, and there is a slight finger choil, but it's not really meant for your finger, I don't think. It's more for ease of sharpening, although you could put your finger there, but it's very small, and you can just basically safely get the tip of your finger in there. So I don't recommend it. One thing I like, and Kershaw is pretty good for this, the blade, it is centered. Hopefully you can see that. And there is no blade play up or down. It's sitting in there nice and solid. And I've had a lot of Kershaws, and I can't think of any of them where I've had blade play. And some I've had for a long time. So Kershaw, it's reliable. Now this is branded as part of the Kershaw Starter Series. So they recommend this as a knife, partly because of the price point. It's, what was it, 35 bucks, I think, Canadian. The price point in that. They recommend this as, a starter knife for somebody just getting into pocket knives, or somebody just looking for an inexpensive, reliable, everyday carry knife that they can take with them. But they also recommend it as part of your collection. If you're a person who collects knives, it's durable enough that you can use this, and it's not going to fall apart on you. It's going to last. So, yeah, even though they consider it a starter series knife, it would be good for anybody who just wants a pocket knife, especially if you're a Kershaw fan. It's a good looking knife. I like the aesthetics on it. I really like the profile of the blade. It looks good. I like the swedge up here, even the little cutout that they've done, the choil there. There's a little bit of a belly to the blade, and I think the blade looks pretty good. And then I know some people aren't fans of this kind of thing, And I've seen some knives where I don't really like it, but I actually don't mind it on here. And I like the pivot cap. It's a nice change from just the regular looking pivot cap. So, so the aesthetics on that are pretty good. Size-wise, what does it compare? Get the old Ontario Rat 2 out. So they're pretty close to the same size. Not a lot of difference. Yeah, they're almost identical in size. And same with the Elementum. It's going to be right in the same ballpark as them. It's got maybe a slight bit of length. And that might be... let's combination of handle. Because the blade is a little bit longer than the Elementum. And last but not least, we will try the Tenacious and see how it fares. So the Tenacious is a bit bigger, if you're familiar with the Tenacious. So it's got a little bit of size, a little size in the blade and also slightly in the handle. So it's a mid-sized knife and it fits in the hand pretty well. It's it's a good size knife for anybody that's looking for a compact knife for their pocket or their collection. Sharp wise, what does it do? Well, it cuts paper and quite easily. So it does have a decent edge on it. Get that stuff out of the way. And the old zip tie. We'll give that a try and see what it has to offer in terms of that. And with this little bit of a groove here, it should sit in there fairly well. And cut through that pretty easy. And through our green cord, no effort hardly at all. And the nylon cord, pull back. Oh, geez. Melted like butter through there. So there is a good edge on it. As I say, you know, with the budget steels, they, especially knives like Kershaw, they tend to send you well-sharpened knives. It's just the 7CR is not going to hold the edge quite as long. But it's a good steel, and it's reliable, so you won't have any problems with it. The ergonomics on this, it is good ergonomics, except for one of my complaints. I don't know if you can see on the they've thinned out where the jimping is. They've made that fairly narrow. So the jimping, and the jimping is shallow. So the jimping is almost moot at that point. You do notice it, but it's not like you get a great purchase. You get a better purchase in front of the jimping where the blade's a little thicker. So I'm not really keen on that. But otherwise, the ergonomics on this, it has enough curve in the handle, and then they've got the finger slots that, for a medium-sized hand like mine, it fits really well. And it feels good in the hand. In the pocket clip, this may become a little bit of a hot spot, but in the little bit that I've used it, it hasn't been a problem. I don't notice it that much in my hand, no more than most other pocket clips, so it's not a big deal. But the ergonomics feel good. The grip on it, you can see it has a bit of a diamond pattern in it, and even these lines on the stainless steel there, they give you a bit of grip, so it is a good grip on the knife, and it fits well in the pocket. You don't hardly notice it in the pocket, so it does fit well. It is a little bit of a stiff opening, but I find that with a lot of the assisted knives, you have to give them a little extra push to get them to open, and then of course closing them. There is that tension when you're closing them, but it's not a big deal. It's actually fairly decent. I did put some lubrication on, pivot lube on there, and it loosened it up a little bit, so it is easier to open than that. But that's just, in my experience, that's just assisted opening knives. That's the way they are. So it's a good opening. It opens all the time. I haven't had a problem with that. And but again, one of my pet peeves, the pocket clip screws are sticking up. Now, one of the nice things about this is that they didn't use big honking pocket clip screws, and they are rounded, so they're going to be less wear and tear than a lot of knives. They are fairly flush, but they do stick up a little bit, as you can see. So not horrible. Definitely better than a lot of knives, but they could have just dropped it the micrometer more, and they would have been flush, which would have been a little bit better. But it is a nice deep carry, and like I say, you don't notice this in your pocket when you're carrying it around. It fits really well in the pocket. The tab isn't too big that it's poking you, and so it does fit well. It's a good all-around knife, and I'd recommend this as an everyday carry for anybody who's just looking for a budget knife. As I say, I've had a lot of experience with Kershaw. I haven't had any of them fail me, and they've been good knives, so I've really enjoyed owning Kershaws. Found them to be very reliable, and so this would be a good knife, especially for somebody just getting into knives, young people in that you're buying first knife for them, and that this would be a great knife for them. And there are a lot of people that like the assisted opening, and this is it's a better assisted opening than some I've worked with. So yes, I would recommend this knife. It would be a good knife for somebody. I think you'd really enjoy it, and I will probably carry this around a little bit more. I carried it here over the last week and a half, and I've enjoyed using it. It's been handy and works well. So that is the Kershaw Tremolo. All right, thank you for joining me on this review. I hope you found it helpful. I'll be doing another review in a couple days. Until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.